As the sun sets on Charlotte's west side, drivers make their way home, the historic Excelsior Club comes alive. Inside, the beat of the music draws people to the dance floor.
Since 1944, the historic Excelsior nightclub.
Nationally known civil rights lawyer James Ferguson never imagined owning a nightclub until a friend urged him to buy the Excelsior back in 2005.
I thought about how important this club has been in this community and how important it was to have continuity if we could have it.
In the late 1930s, James Robert McKee, aka Jimmy, came up with an idea while bartending at some of Charlotte's exclusive white clubs.
He wanted to have a gathering place, a social gathering place in the African American community that was comparable to what he had seen when he was working in the white community.
Jimmy and his wife Minnie turned this 7-room house on Beatty's-Ford Road into a private club in 1944.
It was as fine a nightclub as anybody could hope to have in that era.
It was a place where black professionals could go and be able to have a drink and a nice supper club atmosphere.
Back then, buying a mixed drink was breaking the law.
So you brought in your own bag. What the Excelsior had there were little lockers, wooden lockers for members to have their own liquor there.
When you came in, you would buy a setup, it was called, ice or a glass or whatever you needed. And it was that way until Liquor by the Drink came in the 1970s.
Within a few years, Jimmy had so many members he had to expand the club.
In New York, you have the Apollo Theater. In Charlotte, you had the Excelsior Club.
You probably remember her as DJ Chatty Hattie. She tells us the Excelsior Club was the place to see and be seen.
If you hadn't dressed up and gone to an affair at the Excelsior, you just hadn't lived. I'm telling you, that was the in-crowd club. Yeah.
Soon it became an entertainment destination.
Big names, Motown Sounds, all of that, James Brown, all those folk. They played at the Excelsior Club, and it was standing room only.
Often when they would be performing downtown in some of the white establishments, they couldn't socialize at the places where they performed. So they would find their way to the Excelsior Club, and that's where they would socialize. And sometimes they would come and just do a jam session and perform right on the stage that's behind me right now.
Wilbert Harrison came out of the United House of Prayer in Charlotte, played here, eventually went national with a song called Kansas City. Kansas City, Here I Come. He had the first big hit on that, and he came up through the Excelsior Club.
Kansas City, here I come.
Many of the top entertainers of the day spent time right here in the Excelsior Club, and I often say to myself and to others, what if these walls could talk?
As the civil rights movement gained momentum across the South in the 1950s and 60s, Jimmy McKee used his influence as one of Charlotte's leading businessmen to engage the black community.
The Excelsior Club was an important political center even before African Americans had black people in office because of the restrictive voting rights laws.
In 1957, Jimmy and the club's board of directors sent a letter to the community saying the time has come for our people to be represented on city council, and he urged folks to get out and vote.
He took great joy and pride in having a place where people could come and plan and feel private and independent in making their plans and strategizing their movement.
And when you go in now and there's a nice disco ball in the middle of the ceiling, in the past, in the early days, I wasn't there because you couldn't see up to the second floor. Second floor was where politicians could come in and talk to movers and shakers up there. You go up that staircase and some meeting going on up there.
Getting a nod from Jimmy McKee was extremely important to white politicians.
The Excelsior Club kind of became the political stomping ground, both for African American politicians, but also for anybody who wanted to reach the black vote.
Lots of people crowded inside the Excelsior to celebrate its 40th anniversary in 1984. And later that year, health problems prompted Jimmy to sell the club.
Jimmy and Minnie McKee were not just club owners, they were people who brought together the community. And so it wasn't just a Saturday night place. It was a place that fed the community's needs all through the week.
Mementos like this are reminders of the club's milestones and how much folks appreciated Jimmy McKee's philanthropy and what he did to advance racial equality. But in the summer of 1985, Jimmy died of cancer.
The Excelsior Club is a landmark, not just officially by the Historic Landmarks Commission, but in people's hearts, in people's lives. And that's a special thing, not just for folks on the west side, but for all of us in this fast-changing city.
While Charlotte's segregated past fades into history, James Ferguson considers it an honor to keep Jimmy McKee's legacy alive.
When you walk in the doors of the Excelsior Club, you're walking into history, one of the icons of a community. I feel that history. I feel that community, that social fabric that is so important to be a part of.
This Thursday night party designed for you.
And creating a place where people come together is what the Excelsior Club was and continues to be. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jeff Rivenbark reporting.